Welcome back to another session of Daily Current Affairs. My name is Aishwarya and I will be taking today's current affairs. This is yesterday's practice question we will be dealing first. The Black Sea Grain Initiative is mediated only by United Nations with Russia and Ukraine. That is wrong. It is with United Nations and Turkey along with Russia and Ukraine. It talks about transport of grains and wheat via the port of Krim in Crimea. No, it talks about 3 ports, Odessa port, Kronomos port and Yunis port, that is in Ukraine. So both these statements are wrong, thus none. Thus moving on to today's current affairs, we will be dealing about GM mustards, monsoons, export dip in our foreign trade, raw cards in Andhra Pradesh, DPT immunization and Vande Bharat deal with Russia. Now moving first to our GM mustard. This is a very important topic in our environmental ecology, science and technology. The first we need to learn about what is GM mustards, GAC and EPA's Environment Protection Bill. GM crop is genetically modified crops in which it is artificially designed. The genes, some of the genes which are causes disease and others are removed and genetically modified to create better crops, like it could yield, it could generate better yield, it would increase our productivity and also it may be disease resistant. So that is GM crops. This GM crops usage in India, its production, transport, everything is approved or regulated by the body GEAC, that is Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, and this committee is created under EPA, that is our Environment Protection Act of 1986, which deals mainly with biosafety. Now recently we have seen the coming of Dara mustard hybrid, that is DM crop, that is developed by the Delhi University. It is actually a fusion of 2 alien crops like Barnase and Barstar from the soil bacterium. Okay, now so with this creation of GM mustard, it is high yield variety of crop and also it's herbicide tolerant, that is HT herbicide tolerant. The GEAC has recently approved the GM crops for a field trial, not completely for commercial use but testing if this crop would be suitable for a country like India. Now there are very much pros and cons in case of a GM crop. Now if you are considering the advantages of how we are using a GM crop, it increases our shelf life, it is very resistant to virus, pesticides and other herbicides. It can thrive in a very harsh climate because we know there are different changes in monsoon right now, climatic change patterns. So we need crop that could be sustainable too and can thrive in any climatic condition. It also increases the nutritional value, like we have the golden rice which is made from daffodils, it increases the vitamins in it. Also ensure our food security. Now what are the cons? Like it would be a risk for human health. We don't know because these are genetically modified and it's a new kind of technology. We don't know how it will affect our health in the long run. It may cause cancer, it may cause allergic reactions, it may cause antibacterial resistance in our body as well and change in our human DNA. Also it has a lot of environmental risk. It might increase tolerance to the pesticides or the crops and it would increase the weed. It may change the mutation patterns. It would largely affect the biosafety of the countries as well. Okay, now moving on back to a slide. The first thing is BT cotton issues. We know that BT cotton is the first genetically modified crop that has been approved by GAC for the use in India. But that has not been viable till now. How? Because it only provides a fleeting benefit to farmers and it doesn't provide the farmers with the required benefits or pros or advantage that it was promised. Also the farmers are facing a lot of cultivation risk. They have increase in their cost and all, but only the companies which are producing GM crops are making profit. We see in BT cotton bollworms, so the BT cotton was created so that the bollworms elimination, like the pest would be eliminated from consumption of the cotton, so we could actually increase our yield and productivity in cotton. But these bollworms has been mutating and now they are resistant to this kind of stuff. Though we have to ensure how this is more viable. Now from 2012 to 2019, there has been a lot of debate going on the GM crop. Should that be introduced in India and what should be the regulation maintained by this? Now, the Standing Committee on Agriculture was created in 2012 by the Manmohan Singh government. The Standing Committee on Science and Technology, Environment and Forest was created in 2019 by the Modi government, and Technical Expert Committee, this was created by the Supreme Court. So these three committee actually learned about the regulations that should be maintained in a GM group. Both this committee said that whatever the regulations are there in the genetical modification of crops is not up to the mark and it requires more implementation this. Even the second committee actually especially dealing with GM crops said that the herbicide tolerant variety of crops are completely unsuitable in a country like India. Also this is the same TAC, that is technical expert given by the Supreme Court, stating the petition given by other environmentalists and scientists stating that the GM crops is not suitable in a country like India. But the government nevertheless are actually pursuing ahead with the GM mustard, reckless of how it is disregarding the science and law. That is what the author has been stating in this entire article, that the GM crops before being implemented in India or being commercially used in India need to revise a lot of regulations and all. Now moving on to our next topic, monsoon uneven March could fuel the food inflation. Now we see that in areas in India like our south, Deccan and eastern, they have been facing rainfall which is below normal rainfall. Thus it affecting crops like our rice, pulse, maize and much more are her crops. Now in rice, 2% less than the area is cultivated from last year. In case of pulse and maize also 13 to about 5% less area is cultivated. But in the case of arhar crops, about 38% lower is cultivated than last year, which means that we could be seeing a lot shortage in our food and it could actually rise the price of food, which leading to food inflation and also could cause food security. Another reason we also fear El Nino, which could drastically change our monsoon patterns, increasing the drought and all. So that is what this entire article is about. As export diff, the face of the global uncertainty, no clear target has been based. Now, in the case of merchandise alone, based on our foreign policy export rationale, about 15% dip was there in the case of export. You see in the chart, there has been like a constant decrease in our export rate. India is consumingly importing, which means that there can be a very high trade deficit as well. So as per the latest foreign trade policy goal, like $2 trillion is expected to be imported by 2030. $1 trillion from services and $1 trillion by goods, thus making together $2 trillion. Now they are also giving incentives and others for increasing our export in India as well. India has been facing a lot of decrease in export these days. That's why the government is giving incentives so to raise our exports and reduce our import, thus the trade deficit would be decreased. Moving on to our next article, a fascinating fusion of rock art in Andhra Pradesh. Now this fascinating rock art has been found in the Eastern Ghats. 5 such rock shelters has been found here. It is mainly in Andhra Pradesh, Guntur district. Okay. Now this prehistoric rock painting, and there is Kakatiya's mural painting available as well. There are 2 types of painting here, that is Mesolithic period prehistoric rock painting as well as mural paintings that is found by Kakatiya. Okay. This prehistoric area is also used as a living quarters by Mesolithic people, which is dated back to about 5000 BC. Now, there are a lot of mural paintings that we have found from different caves. From cave 1, we can see an image of intense fighting between the Vandra brothers, Vali and Sugriva. From the cave 2, we can see a sketch of Hanuman, and also Hanuman depicted carrying the Sanjeevani hill in his hand. From the 3rd cave, we can see the prehistoric painting of the Mesolithic people and also the image of Hanuman in the Anjali poster. Okay, that is that. Then coming to the next topic, we have India reported record of 93% DTP immunization coverage in 2022. So we need to know first what is DPT. DPT, D, P and T, that is diphtheria, pertussis and tetanus. All these 3 are bacterial caused infection. We need to know what the 3 are. Diphtheria is highly contagious. It's a bacterial disease that is actually causing inflammation of a mucus, thus creating a false mucus and causes a breathing trouble and swallowing trouble. This is actually a fatal heart and nerve damage could also be caused by that bacteria. Pertussis is also called as whooping cough. Like we cough a lot violently and it could even turn very violent and rapid, and you could ultimately lead to vomiting as well. Tetanus is also called lockjaw. It is a disease that affects our entire nervous system and also could stop our motor functioning as well. So these three are very critical bacterial infection. So this has been affecting India a lot, not just India but very other countries. So who has been pushing for immunization and vaccines a lot. So in that aspect, in 2019, we covered about 91% of immunization for DPT. Now this has been increased to about 93% in last year 2022. That is what the article is saying. Not just in DPT has there been an increase, but there has been also an increase in immunization in case of measles as well. There was a rise in vaccination from about 86% to 92% from 2021 to 2022. In 1 year, there was this much increase of about 6% increase. Also the number of 0 doses that is given to children. This DPT is actually given in 3 doses. 1, 2 and 3 doses in different stages of like children under 7 years of old. So the number of children who hasn't taken any of this dosage has been decreased from 4.6 to 2.3 million. And also the number of partially vaccinated, that is just took at least 1 or 2 doses, that number has also decreased from 1.3 million to about 6.5 lakh. So that is this entire article about, and this is our last topic. This is that Russia is also helping India in developing of Vande Bharat trains. This was actually an agreement that was made earlier, but with Russia-Ukraine war there has been delay in it. But Russia is back on track and is going to develop about 120 new Vande Bharat trains. That is this article about. So this is our end, and let us discuss some previous year questions. Other than the resistance to pests, what are the processes for which genetically engineering plants have been created? From this we can see that to enable them to withstand drought. Okay, we said that genetically modified plants could withstand climatic conditions. So this is true. To increase the nutritive value of the produce. Of course, we told an example about golden rice. To enable them to grow and to do photosynthesis in spaceship and space. Do you think that is a very viable statement? No, that is a very wrong statement. To increase their shelf life. That's an S. So the answer is 1, 2 and 4 only. Moving on to our next question. Bolgard 1 and Bolgard 2 technologies are mentioned in the context of clonal propagation of crop plants. No. Developing genetically modified crop plants. That is actually the correct statement. Production of plant growth substances, production of biofertilizer, these are wrong statements. Now moving on to a practice question. This is a practice question for today. Consider statements about DPT vaccine coverage. DPT vaccine coverage in India has been increasing consistently to reach about 93%. Check the analysis statement. Pertussis is also called whooping cough. So please answer for this question in your comments, and I will be taking the next class tomorrow. Thank you.